Hello and welcome to Just Figures. Today we're going to be looking at the 1995 Playmates Earthworm Jim line with Psy-Crow, as well as Earthworm Jim Deep Sea Special Mission Suit. Stay tuned. And on the packaging, we get some really nice artwork from, I do believe, the first video game of Earthworm Jim saying, "Eat dirt." And up here you can see Earthworm Jim, a worm with attitude, and a really big gun. Right down here you have a little bit of artwork of Psy-Crow, and it says super spring-loaded blaster gun. And then it gives you some other stuff. On the back, we have a lot of text. We have pictures of the other figures in the line. We have some words about all his accessories, and we have his snippet segment. Without wasting another moment, let's get into it. And so here we have Psy-Crow out of packaging. And boy oh boy, this is a really cool looking figure. Now I'm going to preface this. I put on a couple of his accessories, that being his jetpack as well as his antenna. But let's get down into just how cool this figure looks. I mean, he looks like he was pulled directly out of the game. I just love this really, really nice head sculpt. It is amazing. Oh, it just looks so cool. You have a little bit of shadowing here with a darker color. Paint apps are pretty nice, I will say that. I also did some customs for this figure. I painted his accessories. I've painted his jetpack right here, a nice dark blue and a little bit of gold, as well as I painted his antenna gold. So let's get into articulation for this figure. First off, we got a swivel at the head, which can go all the way around. The arms have the pretty general cut at the shoulder, but can be hindered by the jetpack. On this arm, he has a swivel at the wrist. And on this one, he has a swivel at the elbow. And his legs, now this is the weirdest part about this figure. His legs are on this almost ball-jointed type deal. However, you can't get a whole lot of movement out of them. This is about as much as you could get. They don't really move forward and back, and they mostly move out. Which can be a problem when standing this figure, because you got to get the exact right placement for his feet, otherwise he always falls over, and that seems to be about the way to do it. Alright, with that all said, let's start getting into his accessories, which I have painted. First up, we have Psy-Crow's grappling hook gun. And I painted a little bit of metallic red, a little bit of black, and then gold for the hook. I think it turned out really nice. This is a really cool little accessory. I do believe he uses this in the video game, if you fight him. And yeah, I really like the detail. The detail's really nice, and when you paint this, it just brings out a lot of that detail, and I think it's really cool. And next up, we have the spring-loaded hook gun that he comes with, and I painted it a black and a little bit of gold spray with some red, and yeah, you can see the paint's rubbing off here because that's where he grips it, and it tends to rub off even with protective enamel, but you know, what can you do? So the really cool action feature that this gun has is obviously that it's spring-loaded and has this little rope. When you push this little button down up here, shoots off. Pretty neat. And finally, we have Major Mucus, one of the other bosses from Earthworm Jim. Now this guy, it came pre-painted, so I had to do no real painting on this guy. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet, I do tell you. You can actually see in here that he originally was yellow, so that's interesting. Overall, really cool. He pretty much looks like his in-game counterpart. And I say, once you do that, you done it. Alright, so here we have the Earthworm Jim Deep Sea Mission suit. Let's take a look at that. The packaging is pretty much the same as Psy-Crow's. However, he does feature his own artwork right here, along with his, tells you what the action feature, and it's a real water shooting gun with jetpack storage. And yeah, we're gonna flip it over to the back. It gives you a nice lengthy bio about the suit, as well as the story thus far. Tells you what kind of accessories he comes with. Also, the interesting thing to note is these accessories are painted, which they are not in the box. So, if you do want to paint them, you can kind of get an idea of what they're supposed to look like. And with all that being said, I don't have my knife here. With all that being said, let's get into it. And so here we have the awesome Earthworm Jim Deep Sea Mission suit out of packaging. And boy oh boy, this figure is really cool looking. Now this is a design that is not from any of the video games. However, I do believe it is from the cartoon. And man, they just did he just looks so interesting. I love this little helmet he has around his head. I do believe it is removable, but I'm not 100% sure. You could see, like, I don't know if you actually can see it, but right about here, there's like some pegs, almost clips that go in there. But it seems a little bit too hard to remove, and thus I'm not going to try. But the overall sculpt is really cool. His little jet fins that he has right here has a lot of detail in them, and I think that's really nice of them to have. He has a really cool looking jetpack on his back. I just love how these fish scales are also integrated into his suit. It just looks really awesome. For articulation, this figure is pretty standard with the normal Jim and the battle damage Jim. He has a cut at the shoulder that swivels all the way around but gets hindered by the plastic helmet up here. He has a swivel at the elbow as well as thigh joints. His head would move if you took the plastic bubble off, and it would swivel. And yeah, that is about it for articulation. And here we have his first accessory, which is his water shooting gun. Really cool sculpt. I like how it's supposed to resemble a fish, and then it has like this mechanical spear jutting out. I think it's really nice looking. The only problem that I have is this hose does not, you can't detach the hose, and thus this piece would be kind of hard to paint. Next up, we have Jim's Sea Dagger, which is really cool. It's a really small little piece. The coolest thing I would say about this, however, is the fact that it can peg in to his leg right here. I think that's really neat. Next, we have Jim's Spear Blaster, which is an underwater take on his regular blaster, and I think really cool design. Definitely going to have to paint this up, but yeah, I think it looks really cool. I just love how it's a spear rather than a plasma blaster. And finally, we have Underwater Mission Snot. Now, if you haven't seen my other review, Snot is a character that pretty much all the Jim Playmate figures come with. He's like a little green booger. And this happens to be said Snot, except he turned into a fish so he could go underwater. Really cool, giving you kind of like a mystified, like, what the heck is that guy doing look. I just love some of the expressions they give to this character. All in all, these figures are awesome. Definitely a must pick up if you're a really big fan of the Earthworm Jim series, although I would have to recommend the two that I previously reviewed if you wanted getting to start collecting these guys. But these are great secondary options. I mean, I just love the way Psy-Crow's head sculpt is and the detail that he has on him, and Deep Sea Jim just has a really cool look to him. as well as a neat action figure if you're getting these for your kids, as you could suck up the water with the backpack and then squirt it out with the gun. This has been Just Figures with 2 reviews from the Playmates Earthworm Jim line. Stay tuned for next time. Goodbye.